to be focused, to drown out the noise, and to get clear about your purpose and your destiny. Now is the time. We don't have nearly as much time as we think we do, and we don't have time to continually acquiesce to old seasons and cycles. Now is the time to align with your destiny and to begin to make progress in the direction of your prophetic future and to do the thing that you've been created and destined to do. And so I believe with all my heart that there is a prophetic urgency in the world to come out of whatever slumber or lackadaisical state that you may have been in, and to really become alert to your destiny, your assignment, and realize that there is something significant and meaningful that you've been put on this planet to do, and now is the time to do it. Now is the time to stop making excuses and begin to execute on what it is that you want to accomplish. As I said at the beginning of this show, we are now in the fourth quarter of 2021, and if you have followed my work for the last 10 years of this podcast or even longer with my organization, you know that we always do a Finish the Year Strong campaign, and we started on October 1st because I understand the importance of finishing strong and ending the year on a high note, so that you can position yourself for greater success in the days to come. And so as we go into the final stretch of 2021, I want you to get crystal clear on what it is that you want to accomplish. I want you to take the time to get rid of the distractions in your life, because this is what I have discovered. If you continue to entertain distractions, you will never embrace your destiny. And there are so many people, they're full of dreams, they're full of hopes, they're full of aspirations, they're full of visions that can change the world. But the reality is that they're very distracted. And so it doesn't matter how great destiny is. If you are a distracted person, you will never fulfill the thing that you were born and created to do. And so it's very important that you begin to eliminate the distractions in your life, and you begin to hone in with a laser-sharp focus on your assignment, on your vision, and what it is that you want to accomplish. The reality is that we only get one life, and what we do with the moments of our lives determines if we maximize our potential or whether we abort the seed of greatness that lives on the inside of us. The reality is that you are the catalyst and the springboard for all change, all shifts, all transformations that will happen in your life. And so it's good to be motivated. It's good to get inspired. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that you are responsible for realizing your full potential. You are responsible for doing the thing that you created and destined to do. And most of all, you are responsible for honing in on your capacity, your skills, your gifts, so that you can serve the world in a meaningful way. And so I believe that now more than ever before, we must begin to focus. We must begin to get clear and intentional about what it is we want to accomplish, what it is we want to build, what it is we want to engineer, what it is we want to begin to construct with our lives, and what we want to do in our lifetime and in our generation. And so I hope that as we go into this fourth quarter, it's only the second day, that you will take the time to revisit your vision, to scrutinize your goals, to get clear accuracy on your assignment, and that you will begin to make these moments of your life count so that you can do the thing that you were created and destined to do. And so in the time that I have left, I want to talk with you today about direction. We're in the middle of a series called The Path, Daring to Move in the Direction of Your Destiny. And so I believe that this is so important, and that's why I'm devoting this entire episode to it, okay? So I hope you're listening. Hope you have your iPad, your iPhone, something to take notes with, because I believe this is going to help you. All right. Number one, this is what I want you to understand. You've heard me say this. If you listen to this podcast, you've been a long-time follower of this podcast, you've heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. The scripture says, where there is no vision, the people perish. If you study that out deeper, it says where there is no prophetic utterance, the people cast off restraints and run wild. The problem with the world is not that you are a product of your circumstance. You are not a prisoner of your environment. You are not in bondage to your condition. The real problem is that we have a generation of people that have no vision for their lives. Every single day, without fail, for the last decade at least, I have gotten tons and tons of emails in my inbox. And then social media came along, and I got tons and tons of emails and DMs on social media. And every single day of my life, there is something that is vying for my focus and my attention. And what I discovered, and I talked about this a little bit in the other series, but you can go back and listen, but I began to realize that if you're not careful, you will get consumed with the fulfillment of somebody else's vision, and you will fail to fulfill the vision for which you were created. I want you to write that down. If you're not careful, you will get consumed with the fulfillment of somebody else's vision, but you will fail to fulfill the vision for which you were created. Because we live in a world that has all of these different illusions and all of these different desires and all of these different intentions and motives and things that people want to accomplish and get done. And if they see you as a puppeteer or something that they can engineer and use to get them to what it is they want to do, then people will begin to use you. But at the end of the day, you will walk away used, but you will walk away unfulfilled because you have given all of yourself to somebody else's vision and never did what you were intended to do. And so I learned very quickly to aggressively guard my time and to be very intentional about my calendar. And so as I began to sift through over the years thousands of emails, and they still come every day, so many different things that are not in alignment with my purpose, not in alignment with my assignment or my destiny. And so those things get a no. Those things get a you or not right now, or this is not the time for this, but thank you for reaching out in consideration, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you're going to fulfill your destiny, if you're going to move in the direction of your destiny, because that's what we're talking about today, direction, you're going to have to be very careful that you are living your vision. I cannot tell you how many people I have talked to in the last 3 decades of people that are living a self-fulfilling prophecy of somebody else's vision. They're not doing what they were created to do. They're not even on the same wavelength with what they've been wired to do. And they are living what I call very miserable lives because the absence of mission brings the presence of misery. Write that down. The absence of mission brings the presence of misery. And so there are a lot of miserable people in the world. They put on a good face and a good act, but I can see beyond the surface. As I tell people, I'm not impressed by the superficial things that we do on the external to appear to be okay and satisfied with our lives. I know because I've been working on the soul for decades that most people are not what they pretend to be. And so we have this public persona, but we also struggle with these private battles and private failures because so many people realize that time is not on their side anymore and that they've wasted so many years doing what everybody else wanted them to do that they never begin to focus in on what it is that they want to do. And so I was having a conversation with a friend over last weekend just as I was preparing and packing to get ready for vacation. And we were having a conversation, and this friend of mine began to say, you know, have you considered X, Y, Z, or have you considered da, 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 da? And, you know, I said, no, I haven't really thought about that. And, you know, making a long story short, I walked away from that conversation with some key notes that I needed to focus in on in terms of my brand, my organization, what I represent. And I think about how blessed and fortunate I am. Fortunate enough to know what my purpose is and to be living out my assignment on a daily basis. Fortunate enough to have done the inner work where I can surround myself with eagles and individuals that challenged me to not be average, but to ascend into realms of greatness and possibility. Blessed to realize that if I leverage my capacity, I can live above